Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gloryhound, and this is the very lovely Dr. Gloryhogg with me today, and we're bringing you Kickstarters today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Can you tell how giddy I am right now?
Yeah, you seem really pumped.
I'm not even excited, super about the Kickstarters. I'm excited about being here with all of you out there today because I feel like it's been forever and too long since we've done, super fun streams. I'm just going to have to quit. I'm going to have to quit my job, everybody, so I can hang out with all of you out there.
I think that's probably the best way to secure our financial future.
Hello to our chat today. It looks like we have Battlecry in chat. Petter, Omar, Jim, Nosferatu, how are all of you doing today? I hope you're doing very, very well. Also, Jolly Lumpy up there as well. The video is... No, Zombicide, is that coming up?
Yeah, next week. They're starting to spoil stuff now.
They're doing the Marvel Zombicide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are they supposed to be launching that, this winter?
Next Tuesday.
This winter? No good. No good, everyone.
Next week.
What are we going to do?
3 days, 4 days, something like that.
Okay, chat. How does everybody feel about Marvel Zombicide?
Well, I saw some people already in our Discord talking about maybe they'll get rid of the Western one, immediately and try to get this one.
No.
So it's an interesting idea. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the models look like more and more of the information on it, right? Because that's a tough call, right? If they were both right up next to each other, they're like, okay, well, here's Zombicide in space, here's Black Plague, here's the Orcs one, here's the original, here's Marvel, here's Wild West one. I don't know what I'd go with.
What's your favorite theme?
Right. I think
All in?
I would maybe go for the Wild West one just because we don't have a lot of that since you don't typically like Western games. So our amount of Western games is very low.
Very low, yes. So, what was it? The announcement today was for the announcement coming Monday. That's very, very helpful.
And then there was a trailer to the pre-trailer to the, I think it's every...
Pre-trailing trailer?
Yeah, Quackalope has gotten 5 boxes and they're opening up a box each day or something. It seems like. It's here's a different mini we got. I'm they sent that in one box? Just one mini? Got that? Okay.
I don't know, everyone. I mean, Come On Games does know how to bring on the hype, though, because they always have, these huge Kickstarters with all these figures. They do releases throughout the Kickstarter. Everything is very, very exciting, so I guess they're just upping their game on that excitement, right?
Right.
I don't know if I'd want to... How would you not open...
We just backed Marvel Dice Throne, so I feel like we just got another Marvel game.
Has to have opened all those boxes
I think
already.
They sent them, separately or weirdly or something. Because they did a whole unboxing video, and it was 1 minute, and they were like, oh, that's all that's in here? So.
They gave Quackalope a 3-foot-tall Tommy Galactus, yeah.
Yeah, that should have, later or something.
In that case, where do you put that? I hope Quackalope has enough room in their new apartment and stuff like that, or house, or whatever it is that they have,
Well, it's interesting, because a lot of people, so there was some speculation, of course, on this, which I don't even know why we're talking about this before it launches next week, but
you know
was
what?
speculation...
We're going to hype you as well, everyone.
That it was going to be Cthulhu, Death May Die, or Death Must Die.
Cthulhu.
Whatever one it is.
The big baby Cthulhu
Which that
monster.
was one of their most highly rated games, which that's one I've been looking to pick up.
Right.
So if that would have came out Marvel, I probably would have jumped on it. But since it's Marvel Zombicide and the Western one is showing up any day now, I don't know. It's weird timing, right? To have your Marvel Kickstarter one happen right as your Western one's delivering, your last one. People haven't even had a chance to play it and be like, I'm ready for more content. Which is already the next thing.
Are all of you ready for more content? I'm not. I want to play my
Western
Zombicide.
one first,
I want to play the Western Zombicide, okay? I need to play as the
Before
three
I
amigos.
just drop $5,000 on some Marvel ones.
I don't know.
We also just got Marvel Dice Throne, so I'm excited about that one.
That's true. But, we didn't get Dice Throne Season 2 and then Marvel Dice Throne directly after it. Or, launching of Marvel Dice Throne directly
they're
after.
years apart.
Yeah.
Over a year.
That's intense, everyone.
It's very intense.
Come on, is life. It's gonna be. You're gonna owe them plenty of bones. You're gonna.
There was too many bones. There was a period of time where you could put down Come On as a dependent on our taxes because X amount of money was just going directly to them
every month.
But I've slowed down on backing some of the Come On projects because they are always so big, and it just becomes a lot.
And we only have so much space. Hello, Walters. How are you doing?
It becomes a lot.
It is a lot of stuff. Well, it's still to be determined when this is going to come to Kickstarter.
Okay.
Okay.
Spider-Man's better than a cowboy.
Since they're doing all this, they have to be launching this year still, everyone. I wonder if they're going to do...
yeah. I thought it was going to actually launch next week.
Surprisingly, okay, I'm going to go back to the main cam.
Are
here.
they really? So they really are doing like announcements for future announcements. That's intense.
Surprisingly, last year, which is the first year that we saw a bunch of people hit Black Friday Kickstarters. Like just straight up Black Friday Kickstarters. And I feel like that's definitely like Black Friday's next week. Are they going to launch it next week?
Yeah, well, last year was weird because normally that November, December time, it slows down so much on Kickstarter that we end up playing games instead. And last year, though, it stayed fairly busy. There were some times like in June where it got slow and stuff, but for the most part, we had a show that we could do every week with new games. So I thought maybe this year would be the same since the conditions around the world have stayed pretty similar. Like things are backed up. Yeah. Most people are still, at home. They're not going out as much. I figured it might be the same as it was during COVID, but during the height of COVID. So I don't know. I guess maybe there'll be a lull for the holidays like there used to be.
Even the kitty wants Marvel Zombicide. The kitty wants everything. Wants too much things. Too many things, everyone. So here, there's a Facebook stream happening on Monday for them to officially announce it. I could see them launching on Black Friday. I'm telling you. Black Friday was huge last year. And that was the first year that I had seen it pop up where people were like, back this for Black Friday, Black Friday deals.
I somewhat hate that because I want to buy stuff that I can get immediately for Black Friday.
I want right now rewards. I don't want a year from now rewards on next Black Friday.
Or 2 years from now rewards. Yeah. I want stuff now. I need things right now.
I don't know how I feel about that either. I mean, I like the deals, but also... it's a good way to get them
now.
That sneaky way in at the end of the year and be like, haha, now back one more. I don't know. I got my first Kickstarter, a couple of t-shirts, so I'm thinking of waiting out a few Kickstarters. That's fair. Jolly.
You got to wear all those t-shirts first before you get your next t-shirt. That's how it works, right?
At least, come on, is turning around their Kickstarter pretty fast now. Yes, they are, right? At least
always
that's better.
Been pretty good about it.
For a while there, they were getting a little iffy where they had a couple...
I was thinking about something that was on Discord earlier. They were talking about how this is going to be the biggest Kickstarter that's ever been on Kickstarter. And then I think it was Petter said, yeah, until Isaac comes out with Marvel Haven. It'll be like Gloomhaven plus Marvel. Done. Boom. Biggest Kickstarter ever. Yeah, Radlands is delivering today.
Oh, no. Oh, Radlands, so good. So good. I've been thinking of that game. I want to get back to my table, everyone. So first up here, we have Weather Machine. This is by Eagle-Gryphon Games. Let me make sure I have that turned off. This is, Vital Lacerda, Ian O'Toole.
Right, is doing the art.
Ian's doing the art. Vital went ahead and did all the mechanics in it and everything. And this here is... So this is really interesting. I kind of liked the premises of it, where you're making weather machines. Yeah, you're making weather machines.
Right, because you make a weather machine.
Trying to get the patents, but you're doing all the paperwork. It's like you're sitting in the offices and you're being a scientist and you're trying to make the things happen.
Get
but
money
also
from the government.
Yeah, get money from the government, but then also get, I think, things patented, but then also make sure if it works. And this is interesting. Eagle-Gryphon sold. What?
I like how... No, he's saying that's all he wants. Eagle-Gryphon, he's going to buy it.
Boom.
He's a big fan of Eagle-Gryphon.
Got it.
I think it's interesting the way you're describing it versus the way I kind of interpreted it.
Okay.
Because they actually came at you with a theme in the video first. We're talking about you're like a scientist. You make a weather machine and it's great until you realize by having sunny days over here, you're getting rain over here where you're not supposed to. And you get this whole butterfly effect where it's good weather here, bad weather here. So as more and more places start getting these things, they start having these catastrophic weather events. And so now the government's coming back to you and they're like, hey, since you messed it all up in the first place, can you fix it and just make everything better? And so in order to stop this crazy storms and stuff from happening, you're supposed to basically build better weather machines. You got to get robots and parts and patents, it sounds like. Yeah. And you've got to get, pledges or money from the government. There's a lot of different things. I mean, it is a Vital Lacerda game. So there's going to be 13 steps. It's so most games are I'm going to place my worker here and I'm going to get 2 berries and 1 twig.
And then put that stuff into something and then make it.
The Vital Lacerda game is if I put this guy here on A, then 13 rounds from now, this guy will be able to go over here and I'll get 1 gold nugget. And that 1 gold nugget is worth 1 victory point. And I won the game because I won by 1 gold nugget. It's very much like a this for that, for this, for that. It gets very confusing. It's like trying to trade a paperclip up to getting a free house. And you just keep trading and eventually you end up where if you do it right, you can end up getting a free house.
That's a fantastic way of interpreting that. Yes, absolutely. You're I sparked with this one paperclip, and now ta-da, I have a house.
Yeah, and it takes you like a year to do it, but when you're done, you're like, I got a house.
Woo! I cleaned up that vacuum and traded it for those skis, and that's where it really took off from there, okay? Like, look at this board over here. And hello, Glory Mom. This board, I love this so much, but I also hate this so much because the board, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is all of this? But I'm also like, oh my gosh, what is all of this? This looks amazing.
I think this leans more towards your sensibilities because I like worker placement games and I don't mind a level of complexity, of course, right? I do like that. I like when worker placement games add an additional layer of some sort, like some deck building or something else to it.
Yeah.
But this, like, trade cog A for B for C for D for E for F to C for... I feel like he must have, like, an Excel spreadsheet up somewhere. And you know when you get, like, one of those Excel spreadsheets and you put in, like, a complicated formula and it's like A, 2, parentheses, 7, astrophe, like question mark, parentheses, and it's just like this big long string and you're like, okay, that's a code that somebody made in Excel. I feel like that's what he has for his games, where he like, when he generates his games, he's got this big complex code of like, this does this, but which does half of this, which is worth a third of points of this if it's a Tuesday, but on wet Wednesdays, it's this, and it's just like this whole complicated thing to get what you want. And it gets to a part where I'm looking at it like, wow, that is a lot of stuff.
So Jim says Rococo and Lisboa are really good. Kanban is heavy, really good, but it can be fun. I feel like all the Vital Lacerda games can be fun, but it's a weird line. So because Vital Lacerda makes so many like super heavy games and stuff like that, sometimes the theme does not always come through in the right way, you know, because it starts to get too mechanical and stuff like that. And I think over the years they've done a better job of balancing that here and there, you know. And this looks fantastic. Oh, and Petter says, don't toss the Glory Cat, Doctor.
The cat keeps jumping up here. She is fine.
She's very angry.
13 minutes, so. What the hell is Wet Wednesday? You know what? I don't know. Don't let me make up names. On the fly stuff is not my forte, okay?
The Gloryhound cat toss, that would be an amazing game. I would get that.
So I think it's one of those things, you have to know your audience, you got to know your group, the people that you play with. Like, I know people that would really enjoy this game. This is one of those games that have to be talked into, right? It might be something I really enjoy, like I really enjoyed Rococo.
I like the theme.
But, and I was surprised that this is one of the times where like the theme seemed like really interesting, because like a mad scientist type of deal and everything, which I'm surprised because usually I'm less excited about the theme of these type of games.
Mad science.
But I have to be like talked into it because it is a lot of work. Like I'm gonna have to sit down and probably like take notes of what I can do in the game and stuff. Like, I don't know, it just seems like it's gonna be a lot. I think that's gonna dissuade some people because it's like learning like a new job or something. It's like somebody comes, it's like going into work and they're like, have you ever used Google, I don't know, Google Analytics? And you're like, no, I haven't. They're like, well, here, take this course. It's going to be 15 hours of learning Google Analytics to get a basic understanding of how it works. That's what I feel like sometimes these games are like. It's like learning a whole new program. And if that's something you enjoy and you want to digest this huge, complicated program, that's awesome. But if you're a person that just wants to kind of hang out and like read a book or something, this is not that. That's how I feel about it.
So it is on Tabletopia, so if you do want to go ahead and take a look at the rules and how to play and everything, you are available to go ahead and do that, which I always appreciate whenever companies do that. It's interesting, the people that sometimes with Eagle-Gryphon games, you can tell how heavy or light their game is based off of who they pick here.
Okay.
But
well, like I think I think that Naveen and Monique, I'm trying to think of it before you play.
Yeah.
They tend to lean heavier.
They do, exactly.
And
so like you'll notice that
Ant Lab Games is on here too,
yes.
or whatever they're calling themselves now.
Also, they lean heavy. Exactly. So this is definitely
Slicker Drips does heavier solo.
It's not gonna be like your gosh, what did we just say it was? Rococo. It's not gonna be like your Rococo. It's gonna be on the heavier side, okay? And just based off of the people that are actually reviewing this and who they picked for it, like with heavy cardboard and stuff like that. Well, here's
the funny thing. You go look at a video, right? So like I popped onto Jesse's video, Quackworks video, just to kind of see. It was 48 minutes long. Yeah. And he wasn't teaching you how to play.
Right.
It was him just discussing what it was and thoughts. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't got 48 minutes. I could probably read the rule book in that amount of time. Like, it seems like I could figure that out. I might even be able to get like half of a game in 48 minutes. I don't know. It's at least, an hour to 2 hour game, I think?
Right. So this is for 60 to 150 minutes. Should be for about 1 to 4 players. And the starting price on this is $129. The other thing that
it's kind of pricey, but it's going to have a ton of bits.
All of them are like that. And all of them have these cute little bits here that are screen printed bits, which are
wooden
lovely.
meeples,
I
wooden
love
pieces.
screen printed bits so much.
You can see it all there. There's going to be a lot. There's always really good production quality.
Much, yes.
They definitely have a style, and they definitely pair up with Vital Lacerda and Tool almost every time because they have a very well working relationship.
Art is always fantastic. The game is always good with Vital Lacerda, even if it is long. It's always good, but sometimes it can go into the longer, too long.
Right, which I feel like you need one or two of those in your collection, but I don't feel like I need like all of them.
For your $129, you're probably going to be getting a monstrous heavy box. Like seriously, giant boxes. Exactly, Jim. Gigantic boxes. These boxes are like this long. Like, they'll be thick and everything like that. They're not going to fit on your Calyx in the best way possible, probably.
I think with Vital Lacerda, you kind of have to go for, like, one of his lighter ones and, like, one of his heavier ones. And that gives you a good range, right?
Good range on where
because we have On Mars, which might be a little bit heavier than this or about the same.
Yeah.
But then Rococo is lighter. Like, I feel like I could pretty much teach Rococo to most people, right? It's medium weight, I would say. Right. It's not super heavy. But, like, On Mars is heavy enough that haven't even gotten into it yet.
Right.
So.
But it looks fantastic. And the other thing I was going to say is if you are interested in the Kickstarter editions of Lisboa or Rococo or something like that, they do offer them at the very end portion of this. So you can actually go ahead and get those as well. So that's always nice as well if you feel like you missed something. And chat, I want to know how you feel about that. Because if you have a Kickstarter deluxe version of something, and then you open up a new Kickstarter for a new game, do you feel like the deluxe Kickstarter version of the previous game should be offered still? Or is that like, hey, like one and done sort of thing?
I have no issue with it.
No issue with it?
Yeah, I think people get this weird mindset of games where they want like nobody else to have it. I feel like if you Kickstart back something, you should do everything you can. Right. You want to do everything you can to get it to your Kickstarter backers first. Right, sometimes stuff will happen. I understand that. Like sometimes they'll get like 100 that made it across, and they're like, "Well, we could sell this 100 at Gen Con now, or we could wait till all of our Kickstarter backers get it in another month when the ship from China comes in or something." So I can understand those situations happen, but you should try to get your Kickstarter backers first, and then after a period of time, you should just release the content for other people. I'm not saying for free, but if they're going to pay the $130 or $170 retail, like why? Like I don't need to have the only copy of something because you know what that means. When you have the only copy of something, which I've found with games that are harder to find, nobody else knows what it is, nobody else knows how to play it, and so you got to talk them into playing it. What's the point of that?
Okay, that makes sense. So Jim says that they made it fit on their Calyx by doing the double Calyx. There you go, right? Let's see here. And as far as
Kickstarters, yes, you have to destroy the whole page. You have to delete all images off of Google. You can never talk about it again. The game has to be stricken from the record after a legacy Kickstarter.
So Nosferatu says no issue. Make it retail. Pay more though. That makes sense. Okay, so if you
that's
are
generally what it does.
more. Yeah,
generally, even if they offer it for the same Kickstarter price. What I don't like, the only time I got kind of frustrated is when the situation with Everdell happened, where it was like if you backed them at the Kickstarter Deluxe every single time, it was X amount of dollars, like $200 per. But then if you backed the all-in, it was like $300. I'm like, so I spent an extra $300 because I didn't get it like
upsetting.
At the end when it was the complete package. That was annoying. But for something like this, if it's the same price or more as the original Kickstarter, then like why do you care?
Like Nosferatu.
Sometimes you miss stuff.
Games. Nice and thick games. That's what we love.
I mean, sometimes stuff happens. I mean, there's even been games that we've just missed because of whatever, and So, like, you shouldn't be penalized from that forever. Like, you weren't looking at Kickstarter this week? Nope, never. It's never again. You can never get the game. I hate that.
Nah. That's like my biggest fear is missing the thing on Kickstarter that I wanted.
And then it's just gone forever.
And then it's gone forever, and I may never have it again.
To a certain degree, like, that's kind of how Tainted Grail was. Like, it took me over, a year and a half to finally find, like, a copy I could buy.
I like those
and
little
I didn't
rats.
go out of my way. I didn't pay, like, a huge markup. But, I mean, it took forever for me to find somebody that was offering it for about the same price as Kickstarter. It was, I think, maybe $20 more to get the base level of it. There was no way I was going to get all the extras. It was just nuts. So, I don't think you should hide out games or hide them behind some kind of imaginary wall. These companies need to make money to exist. They won't make more games if they can't sell the ones they already have.
That's true. All right, chat. Are you backing this game? I'm curious to know who our big Euro heavy gamer fans are out there.
Jim. Jim is.
Just Jim?
Greg would be.
Just Jim.
Greg would probably be excited by this.
Greg will be excited.
Greg has Lisboa for sure, and probably a few others that are Vitalicers. Like I said, I like his style of games, but I don't feel like I need like 10 of them. And he's got a very wide portfolio. And there's a certain point where I'm like, yeah, all of these, if they're all big, super heavy thinkers and those aren't the games we typically play as much, then you only need so many of them.
Here's the thing for me, like if you're going to spend that much time on a game, like with Vital Lacerda games, I either like them or I'm like, just kind of like, like that wasn't worth the amount of time that I have to put into it. For me.
Right. If you're gonna spend 2.5 hours, you want to make sure it's something you enjoy.
And I don't know what it is particularly about those games with the games, the theme merged, whatever it is. Like I'm never sure. So I always try to play these ones first if I can.
Makes sense.
Unless, of course, it has to do with space, then I buy them right away. So.
And then we put it on our shelf for 2 years.
When I sold my Everdale, I was accused in a Facebook group of doing it to save $50. So I donated $50 to the local food bank in the person's name that accused me.
Wow. I like that, Jim. I like that a lot.
That was like...
You have to do that stuff sometimes.
That's like just a little tweak of like a little stab like in the back, and then you're like,
I got on Facebook the other day and somebody was complaining like, how do you feel about Kaman's 50th Kickstarter being Marvel? I'm just so done with it. And I was like, well, I'm so done with the number 50. I mean, really, we need this many numbers? Like, why didn't we stop at 49? That was plenty. And people were like, you're crazy, man.
Is that just because you don't want to turn 50?
No, it's because it's just an asinine thing to say. I'm so tired of Marvel. Don't watch it, bro. Nobody else is. The whole world is eating it up. Like, deal with it. As I said, man, I don't like October. Let's just get rid of it. Like, Grump, go inside your house.
Grump.
Don't participate. Stop being a Grinch. You gotta still sleep from everybody else.
Oh, okay.
See,
I
Jim
saw
saw
that.
it. It was so. I get so frustrated that I saw a lot of that happening too with Marvel Dice Throne, where people were like, Marvel, this blows my sense of disbelief. How can I play it now? I'm like, you were playing a pirate that turns into a skeleton, but Captain Marvel, that's where you draw the line?
Oh,
whoa,
heck no.
a woman that can fly.
Heck
No,
no.
thank you, sir. I only believe in cursed pirates.
Are you in on this, Doctor?
And giant walking trees like Groot, but isn't Groot. That's okay. But if you call it Groot, too much. I can't handle it.
Too much.
No, I think this one's a pass for me. This is one that falls right into that. I'm interested. If I had the opportunity to play it, I would. I would not seek it out. I would not try to learn the rules myself or anything.
But you're not
if
a heavy
somebody was like,
Euro gamer.
If somebody was to call us up and say, hey, I got in Weather Machine
like,
and I can teach you how to play it. Did you want to come over this Friday? I would say yes. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to be like at a convention like, anybody want to play Weather Machine? I read the rules online. Who's got a copy? That wouldn't be me.
Definitely one I want Dan to teach me to play.
You want someone else to teach you for sure?
Because as the more I look at it, there's like so many little dial things on here. I'm like, yes, that's a lot. And I don't know if I have time to read that right now, everyone.
And I think with our busier schedule, with you working full-time now on another job, plus still doing this stuff, of course, and me having a full-time job, our time to play games has dropped dramatically.
It looks fantastic,
so even like little games, like we're like just looking at like longingly, like one day I'll play you.
Right. I 100% want to play this game, period.
We were on track for playing a game every day.
I know.
This year, and then we just didn't play a game for like 4 weeks straight almost.
And two, I think the theme looks really fantastic. I love the scientist portion of it. I
Stop
love all the
talking
little
about my lack of
knobs on here, and like you're putting little books in and everything. Like all of this looks fantastic. I'm down for this. I would be down for this, yeah, if I had time to actually go through the process.
Yeah, if you had a friend that buys them. So here's the thing too, Eagle-Gryphon is in Arizona, so we could probably set up a thing to go play it if we wanted to, just to see if we like it.
Jolly Lumpy says, the Weather Machine doesn't look like a game for me. That's fair, absolutely.
You have to know what you're interested in, right? Last thing you want to do is back to Kickstarter and find out it's just not at all what you thought it was.
And then Jim says, a friend of mine buys almost all the Eagle-Gryphon games, and I might wait,
If his friend would buy all those games, he might wait, but they don't, so Jim's probably going to back it. Jim likes Eagle-Gryphon games. You gotta read the whole comment.
I prefer to read whatever I want.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
Congrats.
awesome, Jim. That's so fantastic. Yeah, congrats. Absolutely.
Oh, see, Sam backed it the second it came up.
Okay, there you go. The moment it came up.
I think it really has a very distinct group that backs him and plays him, and it seems like it always do well.
Group. Vital has like hardcore followers, like super hardcore followers. Absolutely.
You met him that one time.
And then I
you
will
were following him around.
What? I was with a group of people.
Mm-hmm. A group of followers?
Yeah, no, I was not following Vital Lacerda around. I was in the mere region of Vital Lacerda. The region in the area.
You're trying real hard to be up here, and I don't know why.
Next up, we have Call to Adventure. This is by Brotherwise Games. It's for 1 to 4 players. Should last about 30 to 60 minutes. Let me get that right there. Okay.
This is a standalone game, but it comes before Call to Adventure.
Yes, absolutely. And this is interesting, the way they're advertising this as like a board game, but then also by the end of it, you should have your like 5e D&D character as well.
Well, they're
like
giving you a straight translation. So like when you finish it, you could take whatever you've done in the game and translate it
over to a character
almost all of it
sheet.
over to a character sheet, or all of it.
And then you're like, boom, like now let's play our game, right?
It's an interesting concept, right? Because that is part of D&D. One of my favorite things about Dungeons & Dragons is making that character, coming up with a character concept. So this is like having you role play that out to an extreme degree, which is very interesting. There's not very many games that try to do this. Role player being the only other one I can think of that's all about making a character, and that's it.
Absolutely.
And this is just going back to the origins. It's giving you like backgrounds and jobs, and the idea being that as you're making your choices and you're buying things and upgrading, that you actually have like a story you could tell, like with the cards themselves. You'd be like, oh, I did this, this is the choice I made, and this is my character's background.
And a call to adventure, like a... Oh, yeah. Okay, just lay down, kitty. Just lay down. Just lay down. Don't show everybody your butt. Nobody wants to see that, okay?
So desperate.
Okay, kitty, stop it. I've been letting her up here. It's my fault. It's my fault, everyone.
Yeah, you definitely have been letting her up here more
often. My fault.
often.
Okay, so did I say this was one to 4 players, 30 to 60 minutes on this?
I think so.
Okay.
Which I've heard good things about Call to Adventure.
Who's played the original Call to Adventure? I want to know who's played the original, because I haven't played the original. I'm curious about it. I did play Boss Monster, which is the other one that I believe Brotherwise did. I think it was Boss Monster. I've played that one.
Boss Monster was the card one. Are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, which was adorable.
Overboss is the tile lane one.
But completely different than this.
Yeah. No, so here's the thing with Brotherwise games, right? So they did Boss Monster. They did an Overboss, which is a tile lane game set in that kind of same universe. They recently did the Dragon Prince Arena game that we got. That's also a Brotherwise game.
That's right.
They have Call to Adventure. And there's another game that's got good reviews, fairly popular, that they've done too. So they have I feel like they go from like light to medium as far as their game titles go.
Yeah,
they don't have anything like a Vital Lacerda game, but they kind of go from like light, like Boss Monster's pretty light. Right, Boss Monster's pretty light compared to like all the way up to something like this would probably be in that mid-range.
So Matt says, I worked on it too. So
Matt's worked on everything.
Well, what's your favorite thing about this game? Like what's most interesting to you, okay?
I wonder if it'd be easier to list the games Matt didn't work on this year. Because I see his face a lot, is what I'm saying. Almost every Kickstarter, I'm like, oh, there's Matt.
Sam says, I really want to make a decision about this game. I'm so torn. I'm going to say this one is actually at the top of my list of games because I think it's a very, very interesting game. And it's kind of fun, especially if you're having like a D&D group getting together or something. And you also like board games, it'd be a fun thing to like introduce them to ahead of time.
Those two groups mesh really well.
Yeah, because it like leads into it. Absolutely, it leads into that sort of thing. Like it's super exciting looking with all the little rune sort of things that you have and everything.
You don't roll
the art's
dice.
beautiful.
You're gonna be throwing runes, so that way you can't complain that the dice are hating you.
And that makes me happy, everyone. That makes me super happy,
then you can be mad that the runes are just messed up. Yeah, and it's interesting because it is very much like Matt is saying, it's about the journey. Because there is a destiny that you have, and there is a bad guy that levels up, like it's an impending threat that gets higher and higher the longer you take, that you cooperatively work against it, right? You join forces with everybody else to try to defeat him, but you're also trying to level up your own character and have the most destiny points, basically unlocking your character's like full potential, if you will. So it's a very interesting concept. It's obviously did well enough that they wanted to go back to it, kind of revamp it, make a standalone prequel, if you will.
Also such a fun concept if you have players that like don't know where to start or have a hard time coming up with things. Because there's plenty of players that happens to, you know, where especially if they're newer, they're like, I don't know, I guess.
I guess a fighter?
Then it ties them to their characters before they even get started for this. And this is just me purely saying, like, the transition between the two would be, like, completely phenomenal. And I'm down with that portion of it. As this just being, like, a standalone board game and stuff like that, like, do you secretly save all those character sheets for, like, one day when I play a character?
Well, here's the thing to think about, too. I have sat there and watched you make a Skyrim character at least 38, 40 times easily. So you can't act like you don't like character creation because you do it all the time. if you put a game down for more than 3 days, you're making a brand new character every time.
It's the best part, right, everyone? Is that not the best part, is making the character?
Like, I'm a person that can go into a game and be like, yeah, default, and I'll just pick the default character and like start going into the game, like in Fallout or something. Later on, if I make a new character, I'll go and I'll customize or whatever. But the first time, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, that one looks cool, and I just go in. But you're a person that will spend like an hour or more just making the character in a video game.
See,
And so this seems like something that you'd be really
wrong.
interested in.
She's not wrong, says Nosferatu. See? 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 Jim says so too. That's what I'm talking about, everyone. That's the most fun part, is making that character and the design of it.
I don't mind making the character, but I guess
like,
I'm just so excited about getting to the action that I usually end up redoing a character anyways, right? Like, I usually get into the world and then figure out, okay, here's things I don't know about, here's things I want to look up and figure out, and then come back in and try to be an optimized version of something. Like, oh, being sneaky and being an archer is really good in this game. Maybe I don't want to play a fighter, and then I'll start over with a second character.
Even if you're like, say you don't play D&D and stuff, you still have this like little tiny story that you created for this character, and I feel like it runs into like a soft line of where like a Mice and Mystics is, where it's like a game, these are two completely different games too, everyone. Don't act like I'm comparing them. I'm just comparing the sort of thing that they pull together, which is the fact that like when you're playing Mice and Mystics, you're entering into this fantasy realm, and then as you go along, like you become more connected with your character and you kind of build how that character acts. Even though there's nothing in Mice and Mystic that tells you exactly like 100% this is the way they act.
I think that leans more to what Matt was saying. It's all about what you kind of put into it.
Right.
I think that's because the experiences we had it with a 2-year-old that was leading us around, or a 3 or 4. She was very young, leading us around. So that's what made it feel like we were really connected to our character, because she was super connected to her character. I think if we had just played Mice and Mystics by ourselves, we would have gone through and it would have been fine.
How dare you?
But like, it wouldn't have been the same. Like, we played Arcadia Quest, and you weren't like, this is what Nibbles the bunny did in Arcadia Quest, and like, it wasn't quite the same. It's very much what you put into it. But some of these games can be like that, especially games that have choices where you have to decide what you want to do versus just, I'm going to attack this monster, I'm going to attack this monster. When there's objectives and differing quests, it does make you feel way more connected to the character in the game itself.
And how dare you, Petter, okay? That was not what I meant, okay? I'm not just complaining. Yeah, this one... So I was thinking about this quite a lot lately, because I was writing a thing for the Night Cage, an article for the Night Cage, and...
Oh yeah, did you finish that?
Almost. It's almost finished,
oh my
everyone.
God.
I'm sorry. So there are some games out there, and like Call to Adventure, that you really do get as much as you put into it. Like the Night Cage is really just a tile-laying game where you just flip out a tile and you lay it down. And you could try to do it strategically if you wanted, but like the theme and getting into it and like the feeling of being in the dark and maybe dimming the lights and stuff like that, like that's all part of the game, and the game was built to put that together and everything. And so like the more you put into it, the better outcome you're going to get.
Right.
And the same with this.
Right. The anticipation is so much better if you like have to use the restroom and you crawl on your hands and knees to the bathroom because you can't stand up in the game. You got to keep it the same. You got to crawl around everywhere. The more it's like something like Tainted Grail. If you looked at it, just the mechanics of it would probably be not as exciting as if you're reading about the characters, trying to build a story around yourself and in the game itself.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, something even like Clank. I mean, you've seen the difference between Clank versus Clank Legacy. I felt so much more connected to my character and what it was doing than I did in Clank, where I was just like, I'm the blue meeple, I'm trying to get loot and get out. Where Clank Legacy, I mean, obviously very different, right? But as we went through the campaign, when that character ended, I was like, I guess I save this, and like, I want to like, I don't know, like I want to do something with this because I felt so much more connected to it. That's the heart of this game, is that the more you put into it, the more you get into it, just the better experience you're going to have.
Yep, it says folded space on that, which I love folded space. Like, they have excellent organizers and stuff like that for your games. I really, really like it.
So the folded space comes as part of the deluxe, I think. Yes. There's a couple different levels. What I liked about this, too, is for,
this is...
Play for value, right? Or bang for your buck, or whatever you want to say. It's pretty inexpensive to get this at the base level.
Yeah, starts at 40, then goes to like about a 60.
And then that 60 just gives you like sleeves and like a magnetic closing box and stuff. So you can... You're not missing out on gameplay, doesn't seem like. I mean, I'll obviously always look at the pledge levels yourself, right? In case I miss something. But it seemed like for the most part, you could get into this for $40 and not be missing gameplay.
Why is the doctor crawling to the bathroom? Because he's in the night cage and he has to crawl through the halls to get to the bathroom, okay? Wait, how long does writing an article take? I put out 1 to 3 per day. Well, maybe I'm just slow. It's about a 900-word article, and I express things in a very unusual way, and the doctor does not like it. So I have to go back and make edits.
That's not true. we speak very differently, and our writing style is very different. Yeah. And, you know, writing is one of those things, if you're doing it, like if Petter writes 1 to 3 a day, you get fast at it. When I had to do my papers for University of Phoenix, and I had a 2,000-page paper that I had to write like on a Saturday so that I could do something Sunday with my family, you got pretty good at getting some words out quick.
Well, I'm a fantasy writer, so like I like being very expressive with all my stuff as opposed to like a mechanical basis with things. Like I could write a article and be like, and then you put 1 cup of flour into your game box,
right? Because
and
it's not a how to
excellent.
play article, right?
And instead, you're like, I dust the powder into the box, and then I,
Now you're speaking like a true drug addict.
Well, I'm just saying, like it's a different sort of thinking. I don't know.
I dust the powder.
It goes crazy. It gets crazy, everyone. Maybe I'm slow though. So, Doctor, are you in for this game? Chat, are you in for this game? I believe, like the Night Cage, if you don't put enough into it, it's just going to be throwing some cards out on a table. But if you actually get into this, that it is going to be an exciting call to adventure for you. And you're going to be able to remember, like, these little moments that you have with these characters.
She got it in!
Boom!
She worked in Call for Adventure. So I'm actually interested in this one. This is one that I've almost picked up at board game garage sales, things like that, once or twice. Because just off the box alone, the box art and everything looked adventure-y and interesting. And I never actually got to the point where I was in the place to actually buy it, because I was usually trying to sell games myself or something. So I've looked at this one enough times that I think for $40, it seems like something that would be worth doing.
For $40, right. Yeah.
You get cool runes to throw. I mean, who doesn't want to throw runes? So, that's like half of my life goal is just toss runes at people and hiss and live in a cave and grow mushrooms.
Oh, that's fine. I'm okay with all
like
of that.
Hermit.
Can we do it together?
Maybe become like the Squirrel King.
Okay.
And have them like attack my enemies. Go horde, go forth and kill them.
Lizard Nosferatu says, hard pass. Just Joe Blog says, I'm in. Jolly Lumpy says, pass. I'd rather play role player. Not a huge fan of dice, so I'm going to have to pass on the role player one on that one.
Yeah, because that's a dice building one. Or you're rolling
Nosferatu
dice
says,
placement.
Literally 0 draw for me. Don't play D&D and seems like a meh game. I wouldn't play more than twice. That's totally fair. And some of that is the draw of it being a fantasy-based D&D style adventure with that. You know, you got to like that portion of it as well. Now, Nosferatu, if this was a vampire-inspired adventure, would you change your mind?
He's all in. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. We have a wide variety of people that have different tastes, right? Like, because Jim's like, oh man, Vital Lacerda,
right.
I'm all in on this weather machine, but then he's like, yeah, I'll pass on Call to Adventure. So, very, very different. I think this one, as far as value for what you're going to get out of it, if you like character creation, you can get a lot of play out of this one.
Definitely.
For $40, that's a lot better.
I'd be down to throw in $40 for this one. So
all in, take my movies. For vampire one, huh?
That's right. See? There's just the theme on that one.
I mean, to be fair though, like I had stopped playing Skyrim for like a year, and then they were like, "Are you gonna be a werewolf or a vampire?" And I was like, "I'm back in, baby. Download it again. Let's do this bad boy." That was the first time I got back into Skyrim.
Are you in on this?
I already said yes.
Yes, I am also.
You know what? I changed my mind now. Now that you asked me twice, I'm done.
Oh, chat.
No, I am interested in this one.
I messed up.
Like I said, I've almost bought this secondhand a couple times.
All right, next up we have Honey Buzz Fall Flavors. I'm going to do that right there.
Oh my God, feed that cat.
This is an expansion to the base game, and apparently I didn't write anything down for it, so it is for X amount of players and should last about X amount of minutes.
Did you write down how much it costs?
Yes-ish.
$29-ish?
$29-ish to $50-ish.
$59-ish?
$59-ish, everyone.
Or
Apologies on that. Apparently I got really lazy by the end of my notes here.
This one is interesting because as far as expansion goes, I had a little bit of a hard time just seeing exactly what it was giving you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like there's some slightly different mechanics. Like you can cap off your honey, which is what they're showing you right here, which I would assume means you don't have access to that honey anymore, but you're locking in some actual victory points.
Some victory points for that,
right?
yeah.
Because you're capping it off before the winter.
Which is kind of nice.
There's a lot of new tiles with like leaves on them, so there's going to be something tied in with that. There's still, you're going to get some squishy fruit, which is even cooler looking than the other stuff. I was a big fan of the squishy fruit.
Yeah.
You're getting some more
there.
coins, like higher coin denominations, so there's going to be more points in this one, it sounds like. You're getting more goal type cards. You're getting more tile cards. You can get like extra different colored beeples, the little bee meeples. You can get extra colored ones of those that are like the fall colors. So it seems like it's in that spot where it's like it gives you some extra content and some extra things. And or you can purchase like just variants of things. Like you can get like different colored bees and stuff like that. It doesn't seem like, I mean, it depends on if you just want different colored bees, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that's another part of it that you get the deluxe. And then like when you go from standard to like the deluxe, some of these tiles, like these fruit tiles, become acrylic tiles instead. So, which I don't think the original even had acrylic tiles at all in it. So that's interesting.
They had like the little honey pieces that were probably like an
Squishy.
acrylic, like, oh, I guess they were squishy.
The honey ones were kind of
little
squishy.
honey
They were
pieces
lightly
were
squishy.
They
Like
were.
little actual plastic bags full of squish.
Mm-hmm.
Like a desk toy or
Let's see here.
something.
Studio Lanniston says, like for Tainted Grail, I used the blank journal they gave me and made an entry for each day. Aw, so I could go back and read. Oh,
Yeah, so Studio Lanniston
Studio
might be more into
Lanniston.
something like Call for Adventure for sure.
that's perfect. I love that idea so much.
As if it was your character writing. One of my favorite things to do when I did play D&D or when I played Vampire the Masquerade was Barry, our storyteller, would always ask me to recap last session. And so I would always recap in the most ridiculous way. I'd be like,
That's right.
basically, Declan got into a fight with the werewolf.
right.
He totally
It was
won.
good.
It was pretty good. It was very centric on my character and being like, and then Kat was crazy. I mean, what else is new? She was doing something, I don't know, overthrew the government. Who knows? But I would recap the whole story, and then I get points based off of how good of a job I did recapping it, but like in an alternate universe. I got more points if I recapped it accurately, but with enough of a lean on it that it seems like everything
It was
I did was
character-based,
awesome.
yeah. Yeah.
Everything I did was awesome, and that everything we did was amazing, and we didn't do anything bad, and that we were good little vampires.
So I really, really enjoy Honey Buzz. I think this is a very, very cute game. You can play it several different ways. And Petter was saying that I believe it's several modular expansions in one on this one here. And that kind of rings true too as far as like what was introduced in the first portion of it, because you got like that little extra honey thing and like some added stuff that you would add to
They
the
had
game.
some variants you could do, right? Because
Right.
you could do like a memory version of it. You could do a
Right.
non-memory version.
And so like this looks like it's pushing into that. And but the thing I really, really like on this is the fact that if you missed out on something, you can go back and get it as well. Because I know that by the end of it, I was like, oh man, I'm really kind of sad that I missed out on those coins, you know, that I went ahead and didn't end up getting, because altogether it was very expensive. And so like being able to come back and get the coins now, like that's exciting for me. And as well as like the base price on this was, what was it?
It did look like there was fall
29
color
to 59?
fuzzy beeples.
Yes,
That
fall
was
color
unlocked.
fuzzy beeples. So the fuzzy beeples are adorable. They do have like a little velvety like feel on them and stuff, if they're the same ones from before and everything. Like everything that Elf Creek Games did with this game was so cute and fantastic with it. Like it just looked great.
Yeah, I feel like they're a known company, but not like on the same level as some of the other
they're
ones.
not.
And they
But,
typically have really good production.
They produce really, really fantastic looking stuff. They really do.
Like everything in it was pretty solid. My thing with this game is it is more of like an abstract-y, puzzly game more than anything else. You know, where you're laying down tiles, you're trying to like move your bee in the right way to get the honey that you want at the right time to unlock goals. So
Oh, absolutely.
it had things in it that I liked, but it wasn't a game that I felt like I needed to play like 50 times in a week or something like that. Because for me, theme is really big, right? And there, I guess I lean towards very specific types of games where you lean towards some other ones. I don't know if, like the puzzle was harder in something like Calico than it was in this.
Yeah.
So this was kind of like an in-between. So
It was an
I
in-between.
enjoyed the game, but it wasn't something that I felt needed. I don't feel like I need to expand on it a bunch.
Here's the thing, though, for you, for Calico versus this game, because you said, oh, this Calico was more challenging, but, like, it was challenging to the point that you almost didn't like Calico because of, like, how much intensity that you had to get on that, whereas this one here, you're like, oh, okay, you have some memory things going on that you can do or not, you know.
Well, I like the memory, which you didn't, because the memory gave me an advantage. 'Cause
Right,
you were
and
having a hard
then
time remembering them. Where I was
you
like,
have, like, the placement and everything, which also worked into it, and I liked having the duality of both of those things, you know. I really liked that a lot. So, and all of the art is adorable. Like, all the bees are adorable. Like, this was an extremely pleasing game to play. Like, it was just Like you set out your tea, you play your little honey buzz game, okay?
Oh, man. We're talking about Merchants of the Dark Road. That one we got to play Merchants of the Dark Road, the prototype, and we had a great time with that one. We can't wait for that one.
I can't wait for that one to get in.
We backed that one hardcore.
I cannot wait for that one to get in. I'm really excited about it, everyone.
So I liked it, but as an example, I would rather play Merchants of the Dark Road. I mean, they're different games, but there was even more complexity in Merchants of the Dark Road, but the theme overall got to me more. I like bees. Bees are cool.
Yeah, but for you, these sort of games just don't fall into the type of games that you like in general. I'm going to like those types of games way more than you. And this is something that I end up playing more with the kid because they also like these games.
Here's the thing, though. It's like you will own like 20 roll-and rights. Since I don't really enjoy a lot of roll-and rights, I could probably own 3 and feel like I'm good. I've got all that I need. I've got Fleet the Dice game. I've got something like a Ganshan Clever or Welcome to. And maybe like a Railroad Ink, and I'm like, I'm good. That's all I need. I don't need to have 80,000 roll-and rights. They all feel kind of similar to a certain degree to me. I know you say they're not.
They're not similar, everyone.
But see, you say that about like some of the worker placement games. You're like, no, they're all the same. I'm like, no, they all have very different feels when you're playing them. Like I feel like
they're kind of the same, everyone.
See, I would own like a whole bunch of worker placements. So you have to kind of figure out what mechanics you like. Like I said, I enjoyed playing it, but it wasn't one that I have rushed to go back and play. So it's in my 100% like good enough to keep, but not like in my top pile.
What is this cat doing right now?
She's just being weird.
Like
she's gonna get caught like in your hair again.
Like, kitty, what's your issue?
Very desperate. If somebody would feed the cat, that would be cool.
Here, hold on. I got this. Ugh. Advanced snuggles. These are advanced snuggles.
That was a sly dad reference. Maybe feed that cat would be cool.
All right, everybody. I got her.
Did that.
I got her. We got her in the snuggle lock. I think it's working.
She does not like that. And then once she hears food, she's gone. She's gone.
No, she loves me.
This cat seriously gets fed at least 4 to 5 times a day. It's ridiculous. And you have to feed her small amounts or she throws up.
All right.
Anyways, so for you enjoyed this one, I think, more than I did.
Yes. Okay. I think I'm down to get the expansion portion of it. And I'll think about the points
level?
Still. The low end.
Okay, like maybe like the 30?
Yeah.
Because my thought is that you could get all of Call to Adventure for 40, and this is like an expansion for 30.
Why do you have to say that?
But to be fair, I feel like I'm at the point now where if we haven't played the base game like 10 to 20 times in a year, we probably don't need the expansion.
This game is
if we're not playing it enough, that you've played through like a bunch of it, or you feel like you're getting bored. Like for a good example is Lords of Waterdeep. We played that pretty much every weekend when we first got it because we were new into gaming stuff, and I still like Lords of Waterdeep. So when we saw that there was an expansion for that, it was like, yeah, we're playing this so much, we need more content. Tyrants of the Underdark, we need more content. There's lots of games. Asking for Troubles, I want more content for this. Lots of other deck builders, I want more content. This is one that I don't feel like we played it enough. If I went and looked at our stats, I bet you we played it less than 5 times.
This game is the bee's knees, though, everyone.
Do we need to expand on it?
Right? Just letting you know. Doctor, would you back this game? Chat, would you back this game?
I'm going to pass on expansion. I enjoyed the game well enough, but I don't feel like I need to expand on it.
Squishy fruits, though.
I do like the squishy fruit, though.
Squishy fruits. You could almost eat those things, but I don't recommend it.
Order the squishy fruit. And I'd have to have another box for this, too, because the other box was quite full. The other box was quite full. You're not fitting this in with the base game.
Walter says yes.
That's a deal breaker for me, but...
Yeah, you know, that's the one thing. I wish that whenever a Kickstarter like this launched, that they would just send a new box and a new insert, and then, like, you could just, like, put all your stuff into, like, the new one.
Yeah, that's thinking too far ahead, though. Most game companies don't even know if there's going to be an expansion unless they know that their original does well enough. Yeah, but like when they're doing the expansion, they should be like, all right, now we're going to make like... Make a whole new insert?
Yeah.
And they're making 2 inserts. One for people that aren't going to take it out of the box, and one for people that have the base game and they want to combine it.
It would be nice, though, everyone.
Well, as someone who works for an insert company, yeah, I think it would be amazing if there was always multiple inserts designed for every game.
All the
3
inserts.
to 4.
All the inserts.
But that's the overall cost of the game. And then this wouldn't be $30 for an expansion. It would be 40 or 50.
Nosferatu says, I have no ties to the original and I'm allergic to bees. Pass. Jolly says, my wife is backing and plus base game, but not deluxe. Okay, all right. Like, I'm sure that you guys will end up enjoying it. It's a lot of fun to play together. It's a good family game, too.
Yeah, I would play it again.
Sam says, I lost my mind when I heard it was coming out, which I love. Sam, then, are you getting the deluxe then, I imagine? Like the super beefed up deluxeified thing?
I am glad that we got the deluxe version we got, because it was a lot of fun playing with all the different pieces and stuff for sure.
It's like the Isle of Cats who got the big box insert option. Like, I don't remember.
Petter's saying that like Isle of Cats gave you a big box option once you got the expansion.
Oh, that's right.
Which made sense. They were adding enough content.
I have to go back and look at that. I have to go back and look at that. I hope we backed that. I know I wanted to. Oh, now I'm worried. All right, chat. Moving on.
You're the one who said that once Kickstarter's over, it's gone forever. So now, no more chance to get that. It's done. It's over.
Lastly, we have Hegemony. Let me put that on there like that. This is for 1 to 4 players. Should last about 45 to 60 minutes. This is by Hegemonic Project Games, which is a newer game company. This game here, okay, so this game is about...
It's like a real-life world simulation.
It really is. It really is.
Because there's the government. You can play as the government, the capitalist. You can play as the working class or the middle class, which is a combination of the capitalist and the working class. So, and it's all about the different factions and then working with each other, but then also trying to gain the most victory points in an asymmetrical manner.
Thank you so much for saying that. Yes. Hello, Kabuki. I appreciate you explaining that. It is... I wanted to go over the designers in this because whenever you have a game like this that is so clearly detailed, I specifically went to the designers of the game and I'm like, okay, who made this game? Like, how is this so detailed? And one of the gentlemen who was Varnavas, I believe his name was, he has like a master's, I think it was a bachelor's and master's in international politics.
Well, there was a political science major in there too and stuff.
Yeah, that was it. That's what it was. The political science major that was in there. And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
When you read through the quotes on this, you got them from board gamers, but also from like a professor that was like, this is a really good simulation of how the... Right, so this was made by people that love politics, love the way the world works, and then almost as a way wanted to see if they could make how the world works, as far as commerce and the different classes into like a game.
I know, which is super exciting.
They got a 46-page educational booklet, so you know that these nerds wanted people to know how everything works.
This is way too meaty of a Euro for me. Euro scare me, and this is massive, says Nosferatu. I actually think this is maybe less massive than the Vital Lacerda one that we just saw. So the other designer is a designer that has made Dice City, Kitchen Rush, Among the Stars, so much lighter games. In comparison. So this, after looking at the designers and seeing that made me more assured that this game was going to be easy enough for me to teach to anybody probably, or at least to teach to gamers, and that it was going to have enough interesting concepts in it that were actually real world things, which makes the game even more interesting as you're going through that because you're learning things and you're seeing how these mechanics work, and you have people that are behind that are trying to make them work in particular ways that match the environment.
Right.
Which is really, really cool. That makes me excited, everyone. So excited.
I know exactly who this game is for. Like, I could see Greg really enjoying this. I could see Dan probably really enjoying this because they really like games that have like a push and pull and some asymmetrical powers, and they could be based off the real world, right? Like, they enjoy games like Campaign Trail and these games where, for me, once you add in too much modern day real life, I'm like, I'm out, tap, I'm gone. Because it's fun. I just don't want to necessarily live that. So this game reminds me of something like a game I played a long time ago when I was a kid. My dad made me play it. It was a Cash Flow. Do you remember that one?
I remember you talking about that one,
I thought you played it, but it was essentially a game that you went around and you were trying to make enough passive income by buying homes or by having education, and your education costs you money and everything, to get enough passive income to get out of the rat race. Then you went into like this like luxury circle where you could get like more points or something. That's a real basic idea, but it was made by the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know, so very much like a wealth, self-help type of guru person, right? So it reminds me of something like that. I'm glad I played that game. It's not something I would play on a casual Friday night. This feels like a game that I'd be interested in playing, but I don't think it's one that I would play multiple times or feel the need to own, because I'm interested to see how it actually works. And if I came away at the end of it like, well, that was really interesting how it worked, or if I come away at the end of it and it was like, that was a lesson I wish I would not have taken, right? Like, I don't know.
Interesting.
I kind of want the experience, but I don't know if it's something that, since it doesn't line up with the other things I typically like to do for my leisure time, I don't know if it would makes sense for me to have it and try to play it multiple times, right? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Jim says, I want a game that I'm not smart enough to win. I'll go lose all my properties in Monopoly. Oh, okay. If I want a game that I'm not smart enough to win. Yeah, well, Monopoly, though, like...
So, we've enjoyed some different economic games, though.
Okay, so the first thing that this brings to mind for me is smartphoning.
I was thinking about that kind of too.
Were you? Okay, so...
Which Greg loves smartphoning.
The style of art and the marketing sort of thing where you're going through and you're trying to manipulate, like, market systems on a board and everything, that's, like, the sort of feel I get from this, you know, which I liked Smartphone Inc.
So what I will say is Smartphone Inc. was about bidding and buying new technologies.
Yeah.
And then you had a little puzzle with your board as far as how you would unlock stuff and how you get your production. This one I would say is probably closer to like a Root or an estate style game where you're working for different goals.
Right.
Because they all win differently.
Right.
Right? Like the government wins by proving it's a necessary evil, right? That it's needed and by providing things for the people. The capitalists win by growing funds. The middle class wins by providing luxuries. The working class wins by, making a union or something. They all have different win conditions, so they're all operating slightly different. There's production phase, there's action phase, there's
I like the voting in it too.
Some kind of voting phase for certain things. You've got cards that you're playing with multiple choices, it sounds like. So I feel like it leans more towards like a Root style game where you're all kind of doing something differently in the same game world than it does something like a Smartphone Inc., which is more a straight economic game. I think this is going to be more abstracted out a little bit, if you will.
This is the one I was actually most interested in, everyone. Out of all of these, this was the one I was most interested in because I thought it was the most unique. And I love asymmetrical gameplay whenever you're doing stuff like this. And I thought that it would have fantastic teachable moments and everything in it. And the only drawback that I was really looking at in this game was the fact that it is from a newer game company. And that's why I started looking into the designers. Like the designers seemed like they were going to be really fantastic and being able to be put together and everything. I think the only challenge really that I'm seeing is the fact that they're just a newer publishing company. So they might be, let me see when their delivery, they have scheduled for delivery on here. It would be November of 2022, so in a year. Eric says, I love me some asymmetric coiny games, but I want to read the rulebook to determine whether it feels too complicated or oversimplified. I feel like it's got a very narrow path that it needs to walk. Absolutely. I feel like that as well. But I'm definitely willing to take a chance on it because I feel like if they nail it, it's going to be a super fantastic game.
Some people were saying if they were taking like an economics class or some type of political science class, this would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this would be potentially a really good teaching tool and something that when you were in that type of space would be an amazing thing because it would lead to discussions in class and everything else.
Absolutely.
Right, like that would be really nice. I don't know if it's something though that falls into the themes I like to do on like my Friday nights, right? When you're in your downtime trying to relax and stuff.
Hold on Friday nights you don't
science.
like discussing economics and like political decline in different areas and stuff like that.
Not the same way.
No.
Like I think it would get to a point where I'd be like, okay, I want to play as the working class, and then get mad that the capitalists are winning. I'm like, why? I don't know. I could see it.
Capitalists.
If it's in the right group, it could be very interesting and have discussions. Excuse me. But in the wrong group, I could see real life politics potentially getting involved and maybe getting people frustrated. Yeah.
Interesting. Greg it. Hashtag Greg it. Just make sure Greg gets it. Yeah.
Like I said, this is one I would definitely play for the experience, and then based off of that would determine if it's something that I would want to play again or show to other people. Like Estates, when you first showed me Estates, it was just a bunch of cubes and a little
Estates
board.
Is so good.
And I 100% was not super psyched about it. But then when we played it, it was like, oh, this is a really cool like area control / economic bidding game. And then when it's bidding, I enjoy bidding, where you can like bid people up and you can like drop your bids and you can do all these different things with it, right?
Yep.
I enjoy that aspect of games. I don't know if this has enough of that in it to be something I want to play. And I'm not as big of a fan of the asymmetrical as you are because
I am.
The more asymmetrical it is, it seems like the longer it plays, and then it seems like inevitably somebody's always like, oh, I didn't understand how this works, and that's why I lost. And I kind of hate those things, man. I've played with people in regular gaming groups that are just like, no matter what game you're playing, well, I didn't understand this part, and that's why I lost. Well, okay, I can only explain the rules to you in so many ways. If you don't understand a core concept, to a certain point, you need to ask questions. You can't just go off on some weird strategy and then be mad that it doesn't work. You were doing something no one else was doing. You didn't notice that nobody else was collecting beeples. You were the only one, and you had 100 beeples. Everybody else had like 1 or 2. You should ask yourself, do I need this many bees? Or is this too many bees? That's on you. Look around the board. If nobody else is doing anything at all near what you're doing, you might be playing it wrong. Unless you're a super genius that figured out some way to break the game, which doesn't happen very often. If you're playing Dwellings of Eldervale and everybody else has like 4 dwellings and you're like placing your first one, you might want to change your strategy. You might have missed something pretty key. If you
Those
see
are
everybody,
pro tips. Do what other people are doing by Dr. Gloryhound.
if you see that the other 3 or 4 or 5 players are all doing something and you're not doing that at all, like you just have neglected something completely, you're probably not doing something right. You should ask a question. Hey, should I dwell? Oh yeah, you should probably definitely dwell. I would recommend dwelling.
By the way, off topic, Ghostbusters Afterlife was absolutely outstanding. If you like the first one, you'll love this one. Ooh,
Nice.
Okay, thank you, Jim. We'll have to check that out.
I've enjoyed every Ghostbusters that's come
Me
out
too.
so far, every live action one, and even the cartoon when I was a kid.
All right, this one here, let's see here. I think the price was 67 US dollars on it. Super
Which is
excited.
cheaper than the retail.
I would love to back this.
This had an early bird on it, but it was interesting. The early bird was like a little mini expansion. The price was the same.
Cute.
The price was the same. We've missed
Yeah.
it now. The price is the same. At first I was like, oh, was it even cheaper price? But no, the price was the same, but there was like a mini expansion you got if you backed in the first like 3 days or something.
So would you back this game, Doctor? Chat, would you back this game?
No, this falls into that middle category where I would want to try it before I buy it. This isn't one I want to risk that amount of money on without having some actual experience with the game itself.
Okay. This one, I feel like the theme is unique enough that I wouldn't want to miss out on it, But again, because you are so like, I don't know if I'm really going to like this game, it runs into that realm of like, I want it and you don't, and then we have to figure out what we want to do from there.
Right. Like I said, this one could be fun. Like I could see playing this with, okay, so here's the thing. I like to ask myself, who would I play this with? We could play this with Greg. We could play this with Dan. Would you play it with Dave and Carrie? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I would
Johnny
play it
Colleen?
with you. No.
Probably not.
No.
Random people at a game store? Probably not. Your mom?
I mean,
Probably
maybe.
not. My brother? Probably not. So you run into a thing where you think about the people that you normally game with, and is this a game that you would end up playing? Right? I mean, we met a lot of our friends playing stuff like Red Dragon Inn and Smash Up. This is not something that I would bring to any one of those groups.
I just need to find more gamers that want to play these games with me, I guess.
Well, I'm always willing to play it, but
And
I
then
don't.
they back
but I
them,
also
and
don't
then
feel
I go
like
over
just
to their house
taking
and play.
like $70 and like launching it at the screen for every single game on Kickstarter. Here's the thing. So when we pick the Kickstarters, there's usually some amount of interest in all of them, right? Like they're exciting one way or another.
That's why we pick
But
them, is because we
you-
have an interest in talking about these games usually. So of course we're going to enjoy them.
The difference is you get a really bad case of missing out, where you're afraid of missing out. So you would back everything. There's very few weeks where you don't pick 2 or 3 things, and it's just not fiscally responsible at all to back 3 or 4 Kickstarters a week. It's not.
I don't back
realistic.
3 or 4 Kickstarters
Because
a
when
week.
you go out to the table and we've got like 5 or 6 games we're really interested in that we haven't even
table's
played
really
yet,
messed up, everyone.
then I
Table's
feel
not looking good.
when I'm looking at Kickstarters, a lot of my picks depend on what I'm really into right now, how I feel about like do we have a glut of games? I feel like right now
A glut of games, everyone. We've leveled up to a glut of games.
we either need to play through some of our games or we need to get another Calyx. That's where we're at currently because our whole kitchen table is covered with games. Good games too. Car Wars, Dinosaur World, expansions of Fantastic Factories that we like. I mean, it's
If we got
good stuff. We've got Unsettled coming in. We've got
Okay, hold on. Here's
the
my plan.
Dragon Prince.
Hold on. Here's my plan.
We've got good games sitting on our table that we haven't gotten to yet. So I feel like I don't need to add riskier ones or ones that I'm like on the fence about.
What we do is we build a shed in the back of the house, and we take the childling and we put them out in that shed, and then we make the room that the childling was
like a
previously
garage
in.
child, basically.
Yeah, into
Extra
the extra
storage.
Calyx room.
So you want to set it up like how Alan used to have it, where you go into like the closet and it was like rows upon rows upon rows and floor to the ceiling. So one thing that you and I have talked about was cultivating your collection off the games that you really enjoy. And one of the reasons why I first started tracking games is so I could look back at it and say, hey, we haven't played this game for 2 years. If I was to get the game out right now, would you play it? Or would you be like, nah, I'd rather play this other one? And if that's the case, that game goes. That's our general standard of how we do it. Unless there's some other reason where you're like, I just really want to veto this one. I just really want to keep it, which has happened. right? And there's always games that I like more and games you like more and stuff like that. There's always some disagreement to a certain degree because we're different people. We play different games sometimes.
Right.
But we have enough middle ground that most of our collection makes sense. This feels like a game that's a one-off for me. I feel like this is a one-time game. I don't see myself, like, I just don't see us playing this two-player. Are we going to sit down and be like, let me ask you this. Tonight, if we had this game, would you want to sit down? What do you want to play as, the capitalist or like the middle class? What are you thinking?
No, I want to play as a capitalist.
Okay, and then, so you want to play that tonight?
You get to be the
You ready to play
class.
that tonight?
If somebody was reading the rules, yes.
Or would you like to play Dinosaur World?
I'd rather play this.
Really?
Yes.
Don't go back to your old Kickstarter video then when you were like jumping up and down about how much you wanted Dinosaur World.
I want to play the Roaring, right?
I feel like we could have saved a lot of money if you just wanted to play the Roaring, right?
No, I know you want to play Dinosaur World, and it's not that I don't want to play Dinosaur World.
Car Wars.
I want to play Car Wars real bad, everyone.
Okay.
Real bad.
So
I'll
then it changes.
I'll dump everything for Car
Changes
Wars.
Stuff. I think it makes sense, though, to cultivate your collection because you can't back everything. And I think there's something to be said about making sure you're backing the things that you're most excited about at the time. And I don't feel like this is one that you're most excited about.
Okay.
I feel like you're lying.
So Nosferatu
Let me see your excited face.
New channel playlist while you work. DrGloryhogg's Glut-O Games solo previews where no one can tell me I'm wrong.
You know what? I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you something. I would do a whole series of games of me just going through them and then giving you like, here's my franked matter of fact of what I remember about this game, what I like about it, or what I don't like, and if I would keep it or not. And I think that we can't do it because she gets sad. She's like, no, I love that game.
Capitalism is what made dinosaurs possible. That's right. You play the one game so you can get to the other one, okay?
Right, without the invention of electrolytes, we wouldn't even have plants.
Okay. Yes.
That one you don't follow, but you follow the capitalism dinosaur?
Yes.
All right.
All right, Chad. Thank you so much for showing up today.
You didn't say you're number one.
No.
It's surprising to me that this is a hard pick for you. Mine's easy. I'll tell you.
Because you just want to play Call to Adventure.
I think it's the most unique one, yes. I think Call to Adventure is the most unique one. It's $40. It's a game that's already been proven to be a good game, and now they're going back to it and kind of updating it and adding stuff. I love a good origin story. All the best Marvel movies are origin stories, besides the team-up movies like Avengers, which even the first Avengers is kind of an origin story, technically. So I'm saying, origin stories are where it's at. And your pick?
And my pick? Nosferatu says, number one pick of the week, Marvel Zombies.
Nosferatu, how many Zombicide games do you have? Like, different themes? Is it like 3, 4?
I think Hegemony. I would like to pick Hegemony, but
well, first off, you have to call it Hegemony.
Hegemony?
It's not money at the end. It's
money.
Mooney. I can't say it either. Hegemony? Mooney? Hegemony. Hegemony? I think it's closer.
Thank you for everybody joining us today. We really appreciated all of you being here.
This guy. Nosferatu's got 4 all-in Zombicide and 1 retail Zombicide. And he's ready for number 6.
So, I think we have decided that we kind of want to keep the Kickstarter show on Friday. I know we were talking about it back and forth and everything, and
your schedule's still been fluctuating, right?
It's still been fluctuating,
You're going to probably stream today for extra credits. And
I still want to try to keep it on Fridays. I'm going to fight for it to be on Fridays. Hang with us for a little bit longer. We're figuring it out. We're getting into where at least we're able to go ahead and
we're trying to get
do
to a better pattern.
Yeah,
right.
Better pattern and everything. We really appreciate all of you being here, though, and hanging out with us and everything. Talking about Kickstarters. It is going to be the winter soon, so don't be surprised if some of the Kickstarters start fading off a little bit and we start playing games instead of the Kickstarter show. We will rotate where we will go for the Kickstarter show if something really big and exciting comes out, and then probably play games if otherwise on that.
There we go. Hegemony. Hegemony.
Hegemony. Well,
you can't even do it. Hegemony.
Hegemony. It's my game, and then house rules, I get to call it like whatever I want. So I can call it the super nice marketplace game.
That's the most American thing I've ever heard you say. I don't care where it's from or how it's pronounced. It's in my house, so I'm going to say it this way.
It's
aluminum.
True.
You take your aluminium and you get out of here.
I'm a bad person.
I don't care if every other country in the world uses aluminium.
Sorry.
I'm going to say aluminum.
I'm so sorry. I don't even know why I'm on. I'm sorry, everyone.
Hegemony.
Other than that, I think that is all Anything else you want to say to our lovely audience?
Hegemony.
We appreciate all of you being here. We'll see all of you next week. Bye.